Welcome to the Vin Armani Show. We are streaming live on YouTube at youtube.com/VinArmani. Also on Twitter and Periscope at VinArmani is my handle there. And the reason why we're a little bit late today is because, once again, we are being blocked from streaming onto Facebook. Before, they had locked us out of our account. Now they have just blocked off our capability to stream onto the Facebook page of our content partner, Activist Post. So we were over here for the past 10 minutes trying to get it to go through, and it is not. So for all of those people looking forward to the Zuckerberg presidential run, here's what you have in store. It's very subtle. It's something that I'm sure we'll talk about today because debate is not happening in this country anymore. It's about whose opinion can we shut down. This is one of the reasons why, from the very beginning of this process, we didn't rely on one platform, and we're going to be moving to more platforms as we go through, and we're going to talk about that as well today. Got some great stories. I will try to get this up onto Facebook see if they will let us at least post the video afterwards. So I will try to get this up. We'll try to get this to our Facebook audience, although even that's being throttled off our page at Activist Post. But go and check them out, facebook.com/activistpost. The only thing that you can do is to support in this case. That's how we're going to keep this thing moving and keep the truth rolling through. So today we've got a great guest and a great story, and it may be one of the reasons why we are having such issues. Our guest is Aaron Kesel. He is an independent investigative reporter. He's written for dozens of different outlets. Currently, he's been contributing quite a bit and some amazing stories as of late to activistpost.com, to the actual blog and news website. He's also the director of content for Coinivore, which is right now one of my, if not my favorite site related to cryptocurrency, because it particularly takes a libertarian bent and is covering a lot of issues that are not otherwise covered in just the speculative world. So that's coinivore.com. We're going to be talking about fleshing out the story of these Hillary Clinton emails. There's a lot of information that people don't know about that he, through his many sources that he's developed over the years, he got a link, what you would call a link dump. Basically someone telling him the story of what had happened and backing it up with a series of links. Some of them, I believe, were on the dark web, but these initial source documents so that he could properly lay out a story of what's been going on with these deleted 31,000 or 33,000 emails. Turns out they are not deleted. They are out there. The FBI have them. This story has broke this week, although nobody's talking about it because of all the violence that's been going on, which is very much a distraction. This is something that we've talked about with other guests. We're going to flesh this story out. We're going to deep dive in, and he's going to tell us the entire story. So, not surprising that we are getting blocked by certain outlets that may be a little bit sympathetic to the elite left. Also today we have stories on North Korea, something that is not being talked about. I had predicted back in March that we were going to see war with North Korea in September. I think we're very close to that. I think I may be spot on with Vince Stradamus. We're also going to talk about the Google manifesto story. We covered it a little bit last week, and I had said that it's going to be the place where the regressive left and the social justice warriors, in particular, the hill that they choose to die on, I think it's fleshing out that way as well. So to help us get through all of this today is, as always, my good friend, co-host and producer, Mr. Christian Reyes. Christian.
Thank you, Vin.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You know, it sucks to start the show out like all stressed out and antsy because I was trying to get this damn Facebook going. But look, this is something that I expected.
Yeah.
It's something that I expected. And I think that anybody who is putting out the truth, that is a threat to the powers that be, because the truth is always a threat to the powers that be when you're in a corrupt state, because they're living by lies.
Yeah.
This is something you should expect. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to complain about it. Part of crypto savagery is taking control of your whole situation. So IPFS, we're actually going to talk a little bit about IPFS, the Interplanetary File System. We're going to talk about Filecoin. That's like our last story.
Cool.
And it's looking like all of this is going to go away. These people who are doing this censoring are really just putting themselves out of business.
Yeah, exactly.
That's really what they're doing. They're just creating incentives for people to come up with alternatives. Juan Bennett, who's the inventor of IPFS, who's basically the creator of the Filecoin system, his entire, well, if you go and look at his early talks talking about the system, the whole thing is about anti-censorship.
That's cool.
That if these, so you figure, if they weren't censoring, if they weren't preventing us from putting our stream up on Facebook, what would be our incentive for being like, oh, I'm actively going to go out and put my shit on IPFS. I'm actively going to go out and look for all. It wouldn't even be there.
Well, it's cool too because especially, since we started the show, looking at the process, it all leads to the embodiment of freedom, of using these technologies and using these methods to become more free. And if you look at what's happening with the censorship and all that stuff and how we can maneuver around that, it becomes very interesting.
Well, look, we have right now, I don't think that it's Facebook on high that's doing all of this stuff. And I think that fact is related to what happened at Google. I think that what we have is if you'll recall, Jordan Peterson, when he was on the show, he said that day, he was like, oh, well, there's something that I just figured out today. And he was talking about the Tower of Babel. Since then, I've heard him discuss the Tower of Babel. He did his biblical lectures, and he actually spent a long time on it. The idea being that when you create this giant edifice, you try to create this giant organization, right? This giant structure, be it an ideological structure, be it an organizational structure, that what starts to happen is it gets so big that it starts to fracture inside.
Yeah.
Right?
I remember him saying that.
Everybody's just out for kind of their own. There's no unified vision. We really see that happening at Google. Facebook is one of those institutions. So it could very well be that it's just some individual at Facebook who has access to be able to shut something off, who decided on their own that they're going to take it on themselves to do that. Now, I know that this is how bureaucracies work. I've dealt with code enforcement officers and police officers who just have decided that they're going to take it onto themselves to make life miserable for someone that they decide they don't like.
In other words, living by preference.
Living by preference. Well, people naturally live by preference.
Yeah.
Right? This is the unevolved state.
Yeah.
People naturally live by preference. When you create a giant edifice that protects them inside of that gives them power, that gives one person power over other people, that allows them to direct the power of the organization as they want, through this collectivism, you're naturally going to have this.
Yeah.
Because people are always out for their own self-interest. So the key is, when you create structures, it's to create structures that from the beginning cut out that ability. So the blockchain is an example of that. There's no Uber controller of Bitcoin who can say, I'm going to shut off this account. I'm going to shut off this account. This is the big problem that the state has. Because the state is used to dealing with centralized behemoth organizations. Right? That's the whole thing, that they can go to Zuckerberg and say, we need this debate shut down. We need you to do this. And he can direct the people because it's centralized. When you have a decentralized system, there's nobody to go to. When you've got Filecoin, you could have one individual miner take that file off, but it makes no difference in terms of the file getting distributed.
Wow.
So this is what we're seeing also with why they're attacking exchanges, Bitcoin exchanges, and why it's not safe to have your money in an exchange for any period of time.
Makes sense.
Obviously, you've got to get into the exchange. You want to make your trades. Then you need to get it out. You need to get it into a wallet that you control. Because when they go after the exchanges and they shut down the exchanges, like they did with this BTCE, like they did with Mt. Gox, like they've done with other exchanges, they just take all the money because it's centralized. They're looking for that single point. This is how the state works, right? This is why you see countries going to war with other countries. Their idea, their job, they want to take over the capital. They want to take over the command and control command structure. It's not about the people. Because that command structure is controlling the people who are within the state.
Yeah.
They want control of the people, so they don't go after the people. They go after the command structure. And then they replace the leader. Boom, now you've got control of the people. This is how the centralized organization works. And it's the reason why when you have centralization and collectivism, you will never have freedom. Never. Ever. Once you decide that you're going to let others speak for you, you're fucked. Because all somebody has to do is co-opt the person who's doing the speaking, and now your voice is meaningless. And this is what we're seeing happening in Charlottesville. And we're going to continue to see this happening. Right? You've got all of these people out here who are chanting things that aren't from their mind. Right? You saw the thing with the tiki torches. Who gave them those tiki torches? The guy who ran that girl over. Right? The guy who ran the girl over, there's pictures of him with shields, with a shield, standing in a line that has, the logo or the sign of some organization. And this organization was like, I think they're called the Vanguard. They were like, oh, that doesn't mean he's a member. We were giving those shields out to anybody. So it's like you've adopted the brand of something that isn't even you. This is where collectivism is at. And this is why the only way to have any sort of power and any sort of liberty in your life, boom, self-ownership. This was the whole reason of writing the book. This is the whole reason that I wrote the book. Right? And second printing, again, almost sold out. So thank you guys. Thank you so much. But not just thank you. Like, I know that you're going to get a lot out of this. This is right now is when we need it. If people want it, you could throw that up. I want to just a little announcement before we get into the news. So vinarmani.com/self-ownership. This book is only for sale with cryptocurrency. I've had some people already contact me, say, oh, I'm upset that you said you were going to put it on Amazon. You're not putting it on Amazon. It's like, yeah, there's a reason why I'm not putting it on Amazon.
That's great.
We're not going to centralize this thing.
Yeah.
If we believe in it, we have to embody it. Some other people have asked about the digital copy and the
Audio.
And the audiobook. So I just last night finished. So look, I had to listen really paying attention through the entire audiobook at the draft as given to me by John Loth. Not a lot of things that needed to be corrected, little things here and there, but important things. So I just got done with the whole thing, just sent those edits off. Right, so he's going to edit them, get them back to me, then I'll put them up. I still need to build, because again, IPFS, you got to homebrew your system. Every person's getting their own hash. This is going to be a custom system. So what you get, the links that you get will be custom created by me. So yes, this is going to be every link that gets emailed to you, and it'll be instant. You pay, the payment gets complete, an email is going to show up that's got the link to your PDF and that's got the link to your audiobook, and those are your links. Now you're welcome to share them, but it's going to reduce the value of your book. Bottom line. But I do hope that if there's people that you really feel like, that you share it. Right?
Yeah,
and so that'll probably be, you'll get both of those. I think it'll be something like $10. And then I'm going to do a package where you could get all three. So you could get the audiobook, so I'm always going to sell the audiobook and the digital copy together. Just in case you want to, you hear something, you're like, okay, let me read that, let me highlight it, let me share it, let me put it into a meme. I want to make that a capability there for you. Or you just want to share the digital copy of the book. And then I'm going to do a package where you can get all three. So,
awesome.
vinarmani.com/self-ownership. Guys, thank you. This is how you support the show. Furthermore, Christian, I know you even showed me some designs just now. Crypto Savage shirts. You're going to do some shirts. People can get their official Crypto Savage shirt. Christian Ray's. I'm assuming that it'll probably have the Christian Ray's logo somewhere.
Sure.
I know that you like to hide it inside and do all of that. So you're going to get your official shirt. That's fantastic. And that money's going to go straight to Christian. So Christian's going to do this. He's going to send them out. He's going to have his payment set up, cryptocurrency, money straight to Christian. This is how we decentralize.
Yeah.
Right? And Christian, I actually am heavily considering, and I actually have a sit down tomorrow with George over at Las Vegas Distillery of making baby vodka, engraved bottles,
Awesome.
personalized bottles, available via cryptocurrency.
Sick.
The first Crypto Savage alcohol. I mean, we already only sell these to VIPs,
Yeah.
right? So these are not available in stores. These are
Yeah.
only ever sold to VIPs, $500 a bottle. It'll be less for Crypto Savages, obviously. You were the one who said we should do them all engraved. So they're going to be engraved. They're going to be signed by me. The reason why I'm meeting with George at Las Vegas Distillery is
Man.
he's going to be signing it as well. So double signed by myself, by the distiller. This is the initial inaugural private reserve. So these were bottled.
Sick.
These were bottled before Las Vegas Distillery even had a license. So it's real Agorist vodka. It's real good, and it's going to be engraved for these people to order, and I'm going to do it via
Amazing.
crypto. Yeah.
Love it.
Dude, we have to do this.
Yeah.
We have to do this because we have to embody.
Yeah.
See, remember James Corbett when he was on the show just a couple of weeks ago, who said, what are the things that you can do? They're the things that you actually can do. It's who you associate with. It's where you spend your money. It's how you spend your time. That's what it is. And this is how we make our bubble of liberty and we expand it out. It's not going to some city that you don't even fucking know and marching through the streets and screaming and calling people names. No, it's not that. It's creating things of value and letting people behave in a way that creates more freedom. That's what you do.
Amazing.
You gotta embody it. So, again, if people want to go check it out, vinarmani.com/self-ownership. Thank you, Christian. Why don't we, let's see, what do we got? Okay, let's go ahead and jump into this news. First thing we're going to do, because what we're going to talk about is the distraction. I did say September.
You did, dude.
Back in March.
I was thinking about that.
Back in March,
shit's
I said
crazy.
September, North Korea,
Yeah.
we're going to war.
And the day that you said that, I remember showing you on Facebook.
Dude.
We saw.
Now here's the thing.
thing.
Before we get into it, I do this Vinstradamus thing a lot, and it's like it's not magic and it's not guessing. Okay, for people who haven't gone all the way through my YouTube channel, and not a lot of people have watched this, and maybe it's over a few people's heads, but last year I did a video series called The Ascendant Project, which is basically about the idea that human culture moves in cycles. This is something that we talk about a lot.
Yeah,
History
patterns.
repeats itself. It moves in cycles. Not only does it move in cycles, but these cycles have been described in many different ways throughout history, right? Some of them are very complex cycles, like the Indian astrological cycles or Chinese astrology.
Yeah.
All of these are advanced, right? Even Egyptian or Western astrology, talking about the movements of the planets and whatnot, are advanced. There's another one, the human social cycle, which was sort of developed and come up with by this guy, P.R. Sarkar, an Indian guru, academic, whatnot. If you go and check out the Ascendant Project, I go through and say, here's what's coming, and here's how you know, because here's the system to use. And it's big cycles and little cycles. So whenever I do this Vinstradamus thing and the thing starts to come true, all it is just looking back.
It's interesting.
And saying, where are we now? Can we lay it over history? And then move forward. And that's what's scary about the Charlottesville thing, and that's why it's like we need to not even get involved with what they're doing, and we need to have our own thing and be building it, because when the Nazis and the commies fight each other, all they leave is hell in their wake, and we've seen this already.
Yeah. Seriously.
Europe was destroyed by it.
Fuck.
Let them have it. Let the collectivists have it. Furthermore, we're going to need to let these world powers have their war too. We need to pay attention to what's coming. We need to know what's happening. That's why we're going to cover this here. But we're not going to do war porn. It's just to say, here's what's coming. We know what's coming. We need to make another move.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting. I was doing some research on Tesla last night.
Nikola Tesla, okay.
Yeah. And
or Tesla, the car company.
No.
Nikola Tesla. Okay.
Yeah. And one of the things that they kept referencing, like throughout his interviews and stuff, was
Yes.
how important it was to him to focus on patterns and also use those patterns within his intuition.
Yes, that's it. That's it. That's what we're talking about.
To create.
That's what we're talking about. There was a I had this CEO at a company that I worked at, very educated guy, member of the elite for sure, like aristocracy, kind of British aristocracy. Went to all the private schools, and he said that when he was in business school, I forget what business school, probably somewhere crazy and super expensive and elite. He said somebody, I forget who he said, had come and spoken and said that leadership is just finding a group of people going in a certain direction and standing in front of them.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Which is the whole thing with crypto savagery.
Yeah.
We didn't invent crypto savagery. I coined a term to describe a phenomenon of a group of people who at that time had not been named, but the pattern of whom I recognized to exist. So if you're out there and you recognize yourself as a crypto savage, you were a crypto savage before I ever coined the term
Right.
crypto savage, as was I. It's just a name. It's just a name. Now, we need a name in order to organize ourselves in any meaningful way. We need a name in order to have a reference point, like Anarchy Ball was talking about. Without that reference point, there's no power in it.
Yeah.
But it's just a name. What's more important is the energy and the pattern
Yeah.
underneath it.
Yeah.
And part of that energy and pattern is recognizing that we stand outside of that other culture. We stand outside of the battle between the communists and the Nazis right now, the collectivist left and the collectivist right. We stand outside of the battle that's taking place between these two states, or 3 states, or 4 states, or 6 states, or one gigantic state, depending upon how you break it up. But between the statists and themselves, and between the collectivists and themselves. And we need to not get caught up in that and realize we have our own lane, we have our own capability, we have our own system. That's why my shit's not going up on Amazon. Because we're outside of that.
That's
We're operating in their culture, we're helping, there's still a transitionary moment, but we're not inside of it.
Yep.
So,
Good shit.
let's talk about the let's talk about the state, and let's talk about the status, and let's talk about the number one Boon Coon statist of all time. That's our first story news, number 1.
North Korea best not make any more threats to the United States. They will be met with fire and fury like the world has never seen. He has been very threatening beyond a normal statement. And as I said, they will be met with fire, fury, and frankly, power, the likes of which this world has never seen before. Thank you.
No, thank you, Donald Trump. Fire and fury, the likes of which the world has never seen before. So the world has already seen. He's so not careful with choosing his words. Because the world saw Hiroshima and Nagasaki not too many miles away from the potential conflict zone that we're talking about right now. So is he talking about fire and fury like more than Hiroshima and Nagasaki? That's what it sounds like. That's what it sounds like. So what was he responding to there? It's this story. Nobody's really been talking about it because Charlottesville has been taking over the news. Let's look at this North Korea strike. This is from the New York Post. North Korea threatens to attack Guam. North Korea is mulling a possible missile strike on Guam, where strategic U.S. bombers and countless soldiers are based. The Hermit Kingdom's official news agency announced early Wednesday local time that the nation was, quote, carefully examining plans for a medium to long-range rocket attack. Their statement came just hours after President Trump threatened to unleash fire and fury on the North, quote, like the world has never seen. His warning was in response to reports that Pyongyang had developed a nuclear warhead capable of fitting inside its ballistic missiles. Guam, which is known as the tip of the spear, is home to thousands of American service members and their families. North Korea's state-run news agency, KCNA, said Tuesday that the government was looking at a, quote, operational plan that would send numerous medium to long-range strategic ballistic missiles toward the U.S.-owned Pacific Island to counteract the bombers positioned there and send a serious warning signal to the U.S. So in response, let's go ahead and look at this Japan-Guam. This is from CNN. Guam, Japan prepare for possible North Korea missile launch. North Korean military figures are putting the final touches on a plan to fire 4 missiles into the waters around the U.S. territory of Guam to be presented to leader Kim Jong-un within days. In a statement last week, General Kim Rak-gyom, commander of the strategic force of the Korean People's Army, said the plan was to fire 4 Hwasong-12 intermediate-range strategic ballistic rockets to signal a crucial warning to the U.S., and that would be ready by, quote, mid-August. Recent days have seen a significant escalation of tensions in the region as preparations are put in place for a possible launch in Guam, Japan, and South Korea. A notice put out by Guam's Joint Information Center Saturday warned residents how to prepare, quote, for an imminent missile threat. Quote, do not look at the flash or fireball. It can blind you, the note said. Lie flat on the ground and cover your head. If the explosion is some distance away, it could take 30 seconds or more for the blast wave to hit. Guam's Homeland Security Advisor, George Chaufaros, said Friday it would take 14 missiles for a missile fired from North Korea to reach Guam. So, Christian, this is a little scary because if they say, do not look at the flash or fireball, it can blind you. Then it says, lie flat on the ground and cover your head. If the explosion is some distance away, it could take 30 seconds or more for the blast wave to hit. Now, a blast wave that hits you from at a distance that takes 30 seconds and a dangerous blast wave gets to you is a nuclear blast.
Yeah.
And a blinding flash or fireball at that distance is a nuclear blast. Mm-hmm. They're giving warnings that are straight out the fucking Cold War.
Dude.
Like, we're really talking about nuclear war. Really talking about nuclear war. And there are people who instead want to talk about a bunch of unemployed idiots marching around a statue of a Confederate war general in some podunk little town that no one's ever fucking heard of. Mm-hmm. This is where we're at. And then on the other side, you got people telling them to check their privilege. I'll tell you what privilege is. Privilege is being able to ignore real threats of thermonuclear war. When your head is that deep in the sand, it's so deep in the sand that it's in the sand that's in your ass. That's how far your head has to be up your ass for that to be what concerns you.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
This is what we're really talking about, dude. Like, this is real. At least that they're making these threats. Mm-hmm. There was I believe it was PolitiFact. I look at Google News because I want to see what the mainstream algorithm is pumping out, right? Mm-hmm. I want to see what's the narrative that's being pushed to people. And so I like to look at the stories, and I like to look at what stories stick on there, right? Because usually what you'll have, you go to Google News, you'll have like the section that has the various different stories. Mm-hmm. And then they'll cycle through as new news comes through. But on a particular given story, there'll be like something that stays there. And the one thing that stayed there when it was North Korea, which was in the top 1 or 2 stories throughout the week, was it was from PolitiFact, and it said, a nuclear strike on North Korea, constitutional or not? Like, whether or not a nuclear strike is constitutional should even figure into the calculation of whether you make a nuclear strike.
Jesus.
As though, fine, it's constitutional, it's totally fine. Totally fine. Launch those nukes, incinerate innocent people.
Fucking crazy.
It's constitutional. This is where we're at, bro. This is where we're at. And you know what? Getting into the streets and protesting, not gonna stop it. It didn't stop it last time. Mm-mm. It's never fucking stopped it. The only thing that will stop them is taking away their resources and taking away their power. And the only way we do that is by building alternatives. The only way we do that is by withdrawing our consent.
Exactly.
That's it. You know, you got to remember the Declaration of Independence was not a declaration of war. The Declaration of Independence was a letter withdrawing consent. The king started the war.
Yeah.
You don't go to war. You don't get a bunch of people and go marching in the streets and say, change your mind. Change your mind. No. Especially not if you're going to be like, you're an asshole. Change your mind. It's like, dude.
It's the Mother Teresa quote. You know?
What's the Mother Teresa quote?
It's what'd she say? Don't call me when there's an anti-war rally, but call me when there's a peace rally or something.
There you go.
Paraphrasing,
yeah.
But something like that. You know,
well, the way toward peace is to withdraw consent. The military machine at any time in history has needed money to operate. You attack their ability to raise funds. No funds, no war. If you go back and look at, I would advise everybody, there's a book, it's the biography of Nathaniel Rothschild. It's called The Rothschild Dynasty. I believe it's called The Critical Years. And it's like an authorized sort of biography. Very small. It's just about the critical time when Nathaniel Rothschild became Nathaniel Rothschild. When the Rothschild family, this is how they gained power. How they gained power was they basically found a way to fund the British Army so that the British Army could fight Napoleon. It was about being able to find gold coins that could be used in the areas of Spain and France where the British Army was.
right.
He was a gold bullion dealer, basically. That's how, and using credit and gold bullion and developing these systems, and that's the system that we have today. But you realize they gained power by finding a way to finance war. What does the central bank do now? Why are we in so much debt?
Yeah.
Because it's the military. They finance the military. If you don't want war, don't go out in the streets. Don't go out in the streets.
Exactly.
If you don't want war, the only reason you should be going out in the streets is to go to a Bitcoin ATM and get your ass some Bitcoin. If you don't want war. Because they don't take taxes in Bitcoin. You can't pay for war in Bitcoin. You could barely pay for lunch in Bitcoin. Which is, I'm trying to change. I went to Outback. I went to Outback for lunch yesterday before I came to prepare the show. Paid for lunch in Bitcoin.
That's sick, dude.
Overstock, Amazon, been shopping. I ordered a Papa John's pizza the other night, Bitcoin.
It just shows you that it can be done, and it's actually pretty simple.
Yeah. I bought all new furniture for my office in Bitcoin this week from Amazon.
That's awesome.
It's great. Redid my office. You know, Jordan Peterson cleaned your room. I redid the whole thing.
Oh, shit.
In Bitcoin. All of it for Bitcoin. I got a brand new desk. Nice desk. So that I needed a different type of space so that I could work on my gadgets. I'm doing a Bitcoin ATM prototype, like straight up.
Oh, shit.
In the next month or two. But yeah, I needed it. And then a new bookshelf. My bookshelf was overflowing. So did that in Bitcoin as well. Let's go a little further into this thing says Venezuela, but it's totally not. So we've got Facebook banning us, right? We've got the massive Goliath, the massive behemoth. We're sitting here talking about when it comes to Bitcoin, when it comes to other cryptocurrencies, we're starting to use it. Bitcoin's at, probably by the end of the day, it'll probably be at 4,500, I think. I think it was at like 43 when I came in.
Yeah, it was 42.
Which makes no sense whatsoever.
It's crazy.
And I don't hold any of my money in Bitcoin because when this thing crashes, it's going to be a fucking roller coaster, and it may be very difficult to get your money into something else. So I exited at about 38,
Nice.
right? And I got our counter markets accounts. We got those out at about 38. We've got them in Litecoin, which has been mad stable. That's where we're gonna retreat to. We'll get back to Bitcoin when this thing crashes, right? Which is going to. The reason why it's going up during the week, CNBC is like, now's the time to buy Bitcoin. You should buy Bitcoin. Haven't we been running clips of how CNBC knows nothing? So CNBC knows nothing about Bitcoin like 2 months ago, and then all of a sudden they've got their guy, well, now's the time to buy Bitcoin, and here's all about segregated witness and seg-wit and blah, 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 when they just had the woman be like, you know, the reason why it fell was because the ransomware, they were asking for money in Bitcoin, and the guy goes, we've got the greatest team.
That's
Jesus
a shoe shine boy.
He's a shoe shine boy. This is the shoe shine boy. Like, I had my shoe shine boy moment, and I knew it. But again, I'm Vinstradamus, right? I'm a little ahead. I'm seeing the patterns.
Yeah.
But now everybody can see the shoe shine boy. CNBC's the fucking shoe shine boy. Like, have we forgotten? Can we go back to 2007, 2008, and CNBC talking about how, oh, yes, it's going great. Look at the market is rising. It's going up. It's going, oh, it's crashing. Oh, we don't know. What happened? Oh, bailouts. They got a bailout. Too big. What's happening? We don't know. We don't know. And it's
Seriously.
like, oh, did they hire some new staff in the next 10 years? In the last 10 years, did they figure anything out? What are the fucking chances that they know anything about Bitcoin? Now's the time to buy. It's the time to buy Bitcoin. Bitcoin, Bitcoin, Bitcoin. 42, 43, 44, 45, 46. 5, 10, 1.
Shit.
I mean, it's like it's pure arrogance to think that that's not what's happening. If you take 5 seconds, it's the same guys.
Yeah, seriously.
They're running ads for Goldman Sachs on CNBC. They're interviewing executives as experts from the same banking cartel that had to get fucking bailed out. That would have gone under had the government not bailed them out. That's who's telling you to buy Bitcoin at $4,000.
Shit.
People don't fucking get it. They don't get it. But the point that I'm trying to make, in this little rant, and the reason why I'm saying that I'm not frustrated, I'm perfectly fine. I'm perfectly happy. I know where this thing is going. The people who are following along are going to be just fine. I'm being a little animated because I'm hoping to possibly wake some people up who are still asleep. Because what's going to happen, it's not just about Bitcoin. It's not just about cryptocurrency. It's about an entire new movement. Once the paradigm shifts in your mind, once it shifts away from centralization and you see that decentralization is the way, and you see that the technology is actually possible for a lot less money, with a lot less staff, and that people are working on it, then you start to see things like the situation that happened at Google as an example of the Tower of Babel. They've built these centralized edifices. Not only are these edifices trying to censor people outside, they're trying to censor people inside. They're shutting down debate in the exact environment that is a scientific environment that should be the most amenable to debate.
Yeah.
This is how you hash it out. I mean, dude, I've sat in development scrums where it's almost been to blows of guys saying we need to do it this way or we need to do it this way, and there's real consequences. Like, there's real consequences in terms of, because we've got to walk out of there deciding that we're all going to be on the same team and we're all going to operate under the same strategy. There are real consequences in terms of time, in terms of the future of the business, in terms of the future of the project, which means in terms of the future of my paycheck.
Yeah, seriously.
That debate is important. And one of the things when you hire someone onto a team, you know, it used to be, because we would work on in these small rock star sort of special forces startup teams. One of the most important, I remember the last one, we even had a name for ourselves, like someone who could, I don't know how it had come, somebody had wrote, you know, as a little test thing going into a database, Yo Mama, so every time it would show up Yo Mama, but they misspelled it as Yo Muma. You Muma, right? So we started calling each other Mumas, right? Because it's like, We've all seen this thing go in 1,000 times. We all are speaking the same language. And so when we would hire somebody, the question would be, are they a Muma?
Yeah.
Like, meaning, can they come in and can we sit, relate to each other, have a rapport, such that when we have to get into that fight, that we know that we're both approaching it from wanting the best for the project.
Yeah.
That it's not about being right, it's about doing the right thing, and that we're both passionate about that because we care about the project. That's not what you're seeing in Charlottesville. These people don't care
No,
about
they don't give a
America.
shit.
They don't care about the project of liberty, of personal freedom, of human beings prospering,
Yeah.
of a life of abundance. They don't fucking care. All they care about is their side winning.
Being right. Yeah.
It's not this is not a sports match. But I notice one thing that you'll notice about a lot of the people there, and I said this in a tweet, the real problem that we have, we've got a bunch of grown children. That's the real problem. The one thing that you're not seeing a lot of there, I promise you, I can tell you this just looking at them, but query them, are parents. Parents. Because first off, if you're a parent, you don't go and put yourself in danger. You don't take off from work and go put yourself in danger for you to not be able to come back and care for your child. Or you maybe are going to end up in jail. You don't do that. You don't create an environment in the city or town where you live that is not conducive to you being able to walk down the street with your child.
Wow.
That's what being an adult is. Adults make a world that is safe for the next generation. That's what adults do. Children break things, cry, have temper tantrums. That's what the problem is. You've got 30-something-year-old fucking children looking for something to do. But what we need is adults. I'm not saying everybody has to go out and have kids. That's not what I'm saying. That's not necessary. But one of the essays in here is about the idea that we've lost the rite of passage. We don't have a marker that marks us as being adults anymore. We don't have it. It's what we're missing. But I know that it's funny because when I talk to people who are in the liberty movement, when I go to these events, when I sit and talk, I realize, oh, here are the fucking adults. Here are the adults who actually say, okay, here's a problem. Let's talk about how to solve it. Not, there's a problem. I don't know how to fix it. Someone fix it. Someone fix it. I have a problem. You need to fix it.
Yeah.
Which was fundamentally the problem with this James Damore kid at Google, which I said, okay, you wrote a memo. Okay, this shit was right for the most part in terms of the scientific literature. Who cares? You solved nothing. You solved nothing. You wanted to be right. He wanted to be right. You go and you look at his interview with Jordan Peterson or his interview with Stefan Molyneux when he talks about what he did. He wrote it, then he sent it out, and nobody really responded back. So I sent it to this other group called Skeptics. So I sent it to this other group. I just wanted to know, am I right or am I wrong? Who cares?
Yeah, who cares?
Who fucking cares? Do you not like working at Google anymore? Because that's what's going to happen. That's what happened. You no longer work at Google. And you've made shit worse. You made shit worse for yourself. You made shit worse for others. Now, if you didn't like working at Google, leave. Call up Juan Bennett. Go start working on Filecoin.
They'll do much better.
Go start contributing to some other cryptocurrency project. Go. Leave. Leave. Start your own company and do your hiring as you want to. And you'll beat Google out because Google's hiring practices are fucked. You know, the question is, do you want to be right or do you want to do the right thing? Adults want to do the right thing. Children want to be right. No, 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 no. I want it, I want it, I want it, I want it. That's what it is. Mm-hmm. Adults recognize life is fucking hard. It never was easy, but right now it's as easy as it's ever been. There's more opportunity for you to be whoever you want to be, no matter who you are on this planet. No matter if you're a poor kid in the streets of Africa, you have more opportunity to make something of yourself as someone coming from that socioeconomic background and that place than anyone before you. Certainly more than your parents, more than your grandparents, more than any of your ancestors. And you should fucking thank them for that every goddamn day. Every day. And the way that you thank them is by doing something with yourself. Making something for yourself, helping other people. It's not going into the streets and complaining that someone else is a Nazi and someone else is a commie and this and that's stupid.
Yeah, it's fucking pathetic.
Especially when you're all speaking the same language, wearing the same clothes, with the same smartphone, on the same apps, food in your belly. You're able to be there because you don't have to be at work to eat.
Interesting. I don't know how this relates, but I had something at work kind of similar happen where a guy was kind of like talking shit about another bartender, and then he came to me and he started talking shit to me to see if it would trigger me, you know. And I'm relating this
talking shit to you about you or about somebody else,
just kind of just in general, just pushing me a little bit, just saying something about me having to, which I'm a hard worker there, but he said something like, me having to work harder or do some glassware or something like that. And I kind of looked at him and I was like, oh, he's trying to get me to get on his side. He's trying to see if I would do it so I can go against this other guy. So what I did was I looked at him and I just kind of walked away. And I was like, I understand the power of turning the other cheek now.
That's it, man.
You go your own way, you create your own thing. You know, in the position of doing the right thing instead of being right. You know, I didn't want to go and talk shit about the other guy. That's their problem. That's, you know, whatever they got going on. But what I wanted to do was turn around and do my job. And then if I do more glassware, if I got more time for that, I can go and do that, you know.
But it'll be on your terms.
Exactly.
Well, look, an important thing to understand, and we see it especially in this age of social media, and I was starting to see it with some people that I admired, and I think that they've turned themselves around a little bit, you know, and I got to learn, I'm so glad that I got to learn this fact, you know, in my 30s in a way that was very sort of insulated about attention, about celebrity, right? Because I essentially became a D-level celebrity, but enough, and you've been out with me when it happens, I go out in public, I get fucking recognized. Yeah. People want to take pictures, strangers come up, and this happens all over the world. This happened to me in many, many countries because the show that I'm on is in like 24 different international markets, right? But I got to experience this on a slow burn, and I also got to have my co-stars, who was a total of 6 different guys, over the course of those 6 years, that I also got to stand back and watch them go through the exact same thing that I was going through, right? I didn't go through it alone. And I got to watch them make some mistakes, and I'm sure they got to watch me make some mistakes, right? But I got to step back. And one thing that I realized is, you know, as human beings, we're social animals.
Right.
And positive reinforcement, or just reinforcement, attention is, to our primitive caveman brains, the equivalent of survival. Because back in the day, if the tribe decided that they didn't want to hear what you had to say, that they didn't want to listen to you, they didn't want to share with you, they didn't want to give you attention, you were as good as dead.
Right.
We evolved to move toward attention, and to also, whatever we get attention for, we continue to do it.
Yeah. Oh.
And so that's what you see going on. That the last thing, if you want to fight against bigots, Nazis, commies,
pull the attention away.
Pull the attention!
Yeah. Same thing with, I think it was from Anthony Robbins. He was talking about, like, a lady was in the crowd and she was going on and on about her pain and all this stuff that's going on. He was like, okay. And then he goes to the next person. And then he explained why he did that. And he's like, the reason why I did that is because if I rewarded her for that pain and that sorrow, she's going to go back to that and keep wanting that cycle. But I changed the subject. I went to another person and I came back to her and started to understand her when she wasn't in that mind state.
Look, dude, it's the same thing in pickup.
Yeah.
Huge. The more attractive the woman, the more you need to ignore her.
Yeah.
It's called a takeaway.
Yeah.
Right? So it's just like, oh, you might start talking and then you'll be like, oh, okay. And then you just go over here. And then she's like, wait, what? You didn't finish your, give me attention, give me attention, give me attention, give me attention. And then you give the attention. They're like, oh, that feels so good. That feels so good. And it really does. It's a real chemical response. And for these guys who are out there, rah, 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 when you go like this, it's like adrenaline rush. Yes, I matter. Yes, I was right. Yes, there's people trying to stop us. Yes, it's this. You just validate them. But if they're out there screaming and you're like, okay, I'll just stay at home. They scream, oh, man, oh, nobody's paying attention. And then one guy leaves, and then another guy leaves, and then another guy's like, you want to go get a beer? I mean, one of my co-stars of the show was famous for, he'd be like, oh, let's go out to wherever, some club. And then we'd go, and he'd like stand in a corner like this. Like, or he'd stand where a light could hit him, and he'd stand. And then like 15 minutes later, he'd come up and be like, let's go, nobody knows who we are here.
Oh, shit.
That's literally it.
Yeah. And actually, so this is all coming together now. So the reason why I was talking about that situation with the bartender was because that was triggered in me. Like I wanted to say something and do something to come back at him. But then turning the cheek and going through it and then understanding, okay, understanding what was right, I found so much power there.
That's where the power is, bro. That's where the power
like, whoa,
is.
I've never felt this before, and I'm starting to understand it more as I'm going through
because
it.
You're not validating them. They're like a crazy person, right? Like, think about that. You're walking down the street, right? And there's some guy like mumbling to himself, and he's like, Illuminati, blah, blah. And he's like all covered in whatever, and then he's like, they're after me, blah, blah. What do? Do you stop and engage him?
No, exactly.
What do?
Yeah.
You go as far fucking around him as you can. You avert your eyes. You're like, that's a crazy person. So that's the whole thing. We know how we embody behavior against a crazy person. How we embody that behavior is we ignore them, hope they go away, okay? And if they keep coming at you, you're like, okay, I'm gone, see ya, I'm leaving. But when you engage somebody, that says they're not crazy. And it also signals to other people around that they're not crazy. So like it may start with a fucking nut like a Richard Spencer or a David Duke who's at these fucking rallies. This guy's been ignored for the last 30 years, but now he shows up and somebody puts a camera in his face, and now everybody's like, David Duke, David Duke, David Duke. This dude been a joke from the jump. Ignore him, and he goes away. He's gone away before when people ignored him. This is the key. What do we got in terms of time? Can we do this Google story? You know what? We're going to save this because our story, our interview is not necessarily super long, I don't think, but we're going to talk about this Google, now that we've gone through this, right? Now that we are talking about this collectivism and whatnot. So we're going to talk about, speaking of ignored, we're going to talk about a story that's been ignored. So let's do this. Let's go to break. Aaron Kesel, get him on the line. We'll come back, we'll do counter markets, and then we will go straight to our interview with Aaron Kesel. So let's go to break.
Awesome.
Welcome back to the Vin Armani Show. We are streaming live on YouTube at youtube.com/Vin Armani. Also on Twitter and Periscope at Vin Armani is my handle there. We are not streaming today on Facebook. Once again, we are being locked out from streaming by either Facebook themselves or some individual at Facebook. It's gone from locking our account to just locking our capability to stream. So there you go. There's one down. We've got two more to go. Hopefully we can start doing some video streaming on IPFS, which I know is possible. So I'm going to be looking into that because I think that would be really, really, really cool. And maybe that's something that I will write about in an upcoming issue of Counter Markets. So Counter Markets, countermarkets.com, trends and strategies for maximum freedom. The new issue is out. It's very good. If you didn't know, this month my article is about Bitcoin ATMs, which is something that I am very, very fond of talking about. I believe that it is, I think that it really is the solution for making the transition in this case, because what I fundamentally want to do for myself is I want to be able to, yes, physical cash, I like having that. Some assets, I'm not really a big precious metals guy because it's very hard to spend precious metals, right? If I want to actually go and spend a gold coin, I pretty much have to go to a gold dealer, get some cash, and then go and spend that cash, right? So I've got cash. I have other assets, equipment, things that can be easily sold, that retain their value. Business equipment is a good one for that, and we have plenty of it here. And then cryptocurrency. So what I would like to do is I'd like to go cash, cryptocurrency, as opposed to cash bank. And how we do cash bank now is at least for me, most of my banking is done either online or with ATM. So the Bitcoin ATM, this is a great crossover. Not just using it, but as a business itself, there's so much room at such a little tiny investment. So if you're finding it hard to get Bitcoin in your area because you go to Coin ATM Radar and you don't see many Bitcoin ATMs, hey, there's the opportunity for you to put up an ATM all your own. I break down the reasons why, the financials behind it, the economics of it. I go through and review the top 3 machines, not that expensive. Countermarkets.com. Go and get your first issue for free. If you haven't gotten an issue yet, you will get this issue with that article and a whole bunch more, including our Bitcoin and silver reports, which have been spot on since we began. Countermarkets.com. Go and check that out. With that, I will take us to our guest. This is going to be a great story. Aaron Kesel is joining us on the show. Aaron Kesel, also known as AK, is an independent investigative reporter, a contributor to Activist Post, and director of content for Coinivore. Aaron Kesel, welcome to the Vin Armani Show. Christian, there we go. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. It looks like it's lagging a little bit, though.
No. We're good. Yes, it'll lag a little bit on your end. Try not to look at yourself because you're getting the lag of coming back from our studio. So try not to look at yourself. Maybe just look at the camera. Let's talk about this story. I want to take it step by step. We're going to talk about the Clinton emails. You have been privy to a link dump that is a leak. You've done 2 recent stories. I'll throw these up. Christian, if you want to throw up this AK Clinton, that's the first one. We're going to break that. You see that? Got that, Christian? There we go. So this is your report on this on Steemit, right. Completely independent, which I love. FBI rebels leak Hillary Clinton's missing emails were offered to journalists and Darknet for $500,000 given to FBI, covered up. Okay, Christian, let's jump back in here. Aaron Kesel, let's start out for those people who maybe don't remember or didn't really know. Let's talk about the mainstream story, what we know about these Hillary Clinton emails or what we've been told, and then tell us what the new information that you have acquired is.
Okay, so we've been told that Hillary Clinton's emails were not hacked and that her server was never breached. The FBI report itself actually contradicts this. And this new information that I got regarding the emails actually being for sale on the dark web. I actually saw the emails for sale on the dark web during the primary of the 2016 election. Okay.
So these are the 31,000 emails or 33,000, something like
32.
that? 32,000. Okay. So and these were supposedly, according to them, these were the ones that were BleachBit erased, right? So supposedly, according to the mainstream media, nobody has access to these emails, but you saw them for sale.
I saw what was alleged to be them for sale,
Okay,
that
gotcha.
somebody was selling Clinton's emails on the dark web on a darknet marketplace.
Okay.
I saw that during the 2016 primary.
Okay.
And I thought that it was the emails that were for sale, and I thought it was legitimate. This report that this FBI official just gave me a link dump, a whole entire link dump. I've been talking to this FBI official since last year. He was leaking information in regards to the Clinton investigation, and I was told that it was bigger than Watergate. I put that out on Twitter. Anybody who's followed my work or followed me when I was working at We Are Change knows that I was very privy to information regarding Hillary Clinton and her investigation.
Now, was that put out on the Twitter that was then subsequently basically blocked?
Censored. Yeah, suspended,
so
right,
you had,
right.
so that people know, you had about 34,000. You were at We Are Change. You were working with We Are Change. You had about 34,000 followers. People were following you. You were giving this information.
I was given a lot of information.
You put this sort of stuff out on Twitter, and lo and behold, your Twitter account is suspended. You no longer have access to it, correct?
Well, the reason they suspended my Twitter, they said it was targeted harassment. I didn't harass anybody.
Okay.
I called out your newswire for a fake article, and apparently, I guess that's harassment. I don't know. It's either that or another situation.
Right.
I don't really want to get into that too much.
Okay, that's fine. But I do want to make it clear, because look, we're going through it right now where we're being censored by Facebook, that, you know, one of the marks of stumbling across some truth is being censored. Like that's part of this environment. So whether it was one thing, whether it was the other thing, there is definitely a correlation between telling the truth and being censored.
I was also shadow banned by Twitter right before the election, probably maybe a week or two before the election.
Okay.
They shadow banned my account completely. I was not able to be mentioned. I was not able to be seen when I was searched for. They did a lot to my account.
Okay.
And in addition to that, this is documented. You can look at Luke We Are Change's account and search for WRC hacked. Okay. WRC was hacked right before the election. All of my articles were deleted that had to do with Hillary Clinton and George Soros.
Really?
Yeah.
And so this FBI agent who has recently given you this link dump was the same source that had been feeding you information throughout this that you had been writing about, that subsequently these articles and whatnot were removed, that your Twitter account was suspended, etc. So we're talking about.
Yes,
I'm trying to draw the line here. I'm trying to draw the line from where we're at and who the principals are. So this is the same guy.
Indeed.
Okay.
Same person.
So let's talk about.
I'm not going to say if it's a guy or a girl, but it's the same person.
It's the same individual. So let's talk about what is in this link dump that is so significant and that changes the game.
Okay, so what's in this link dump is proof that the FBI lied. Not specifically the FBI. The FBI director at the time lied.
Okay, lied about what?
Lied that that Hillary Clinton's emails were not hacked.
Okay.
For one, and lied about allegedly lied. I'll just not get myself in any legal trouble. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen after this, but okay. So, in addition to it showing that Comey lied about Hillary not being hacked, it also shows that that Hillary Clinton's emails were not secure at all. He said that the server was very secure, or not very secure, but he did say that it was secure. It wasn't hacked, and there's another additional thing that I can't remember off the top of my head. I'd have to relook at the article. There's a lot of information that was in that article. The other main thing that I remember off the top of my head is the AOL email. There's an AOL email from what this person said. This person said that Clinton has an AOL email.
Okay. She was using this when she was Secretary of State?
That's what they're claiming.
Okay, for official business. And are they saying that this email was hacked as well?
I believe so.
Okay. So now, what about the links and in relationship to these emails being for sale? Talk to us about what the process was with these emails being for sale and what it is that we're not being told about those sales, who it was supposedly being sold to, who was supposedly the seller, who were the principals involved with that. What's going on with that?
I don't know who the sellers are.
Okay.
I can tell you that Guccifer just confirmed my leak a few days ago.
So Guccifer is the Romanian hacker who's
Yes.
been arrested, who's trying to not be... Is he in U.S. custody? He's trying to not be removed to U.S.
No,
custody.
he's in Romania right now.
Okay.
He's in Romanian prison.
Okay, and so what aspect of this did he confirm?
Okay, so he confirmed that the emails were for sale by saying that they were mirrored all over the world.
Okay. Okay, so somebody had taken these, put them in multiple locations, so that
They were uploaded to darknet sites
Okay.
or
Okay.
tour websites.
Okay. And so I read that these were offered to journalists. Do we know which journalists these were offered to, and for how much, and what the situation with that was?
No, there was an article that was reported that said that they were offered to journalists. The House Intel Committee and the Senate Intel Committee both allegedly have them,
Okay.
according to information that was given to me through a link. And the link that I read, it was, I can't remember the source off the top of my head. They said that the Intel Committee and the Senate Committee had these emails, and that they were got through Russians selling them online.
Got it.
Now, that's not to say that Russians hacked the election, but
Okay.
Russians definitely probably hacked Hillary Clinton's server because it was insecure. It was so insecure that RDP, or Remote Desktop Protocol, was
Yes.
enabled on the server.
So they could basically just remote desktop in and use it as
Yes.
though... Oh, shit.
Yeah, that's the thing. And that's what this guy... that's what Guccifer was saying, is that that her server was so insecure. It's a question of who didn't hack it, not who did.
So Christian, go ahead and throw up this Guccifer. So for more info on that, if people want, this is your piece for Activist Post. Just came out.
Yeah.
Jailed hacker Guccifer says U.S. government fabricated Guccifer 2.0 as an inside job. I've got the link to your Steam It, which has the original article. That's actually in the show notes and show description. People should definitely go and check out this article.
No,
Okay.
What's
So
very
let's go back,
interesting
Christian.
about that article is that Guccifer mentions Volt 7 in that article, which is
Okay.
very weird because in Romanian prison, they do not have computers, and I don't know if they would be talking about
Well,
Volt
he's
7.
been locked up since before WikiLeaks broke that story.
Right. That's why I said that it was very interesting.
Huh. Interesting. Okay, so now let's talk about this Guccifer 2.0 because this is important. I was following this situation from when it first came out. He was leaking stuff from inside the DNC. Those were some of the DNC leaks. It's one of the ways that when they came out and they were talking about Grizzly Steppe, we went over that on this show. We deep dived on that whole thing, saying that it was Russian hacking. They cited Guccifer 2.0. What do we know about Guccifer 2.0? What is the conjecture about Guccifer 2.0? What has Guccifer 1.0 said about Guccifer 2.0? Break down that story for us, because that's an interesting tidbit on this.
Okay, so what Guccifer 2.0 has said about Guccifer, or what Guccifer has said about Guccifer 2.0 is that Guccifer 2.0 is a fraud. And that's kind of what the documents have been leading to kind of establish.
A fraud how? A fraud how?
A setup.
Like a government, some agent of government pretending to be a hacker. Is that what we're talking about here?
Yeah, fraudulent leaks. It's just trying to set up the Russian government because of there was Russian locale language that was found within the NGP documents
Okay.
that Guccifer 2.0 leaked. Now, there was also an investigation where they found that the data was actually removed, and it wasn't. It was removed with a USB drive. I'm sorry, it was removed with a USB drive. It wasn't uploaded to a Dropbox or something like that, or any type of file sharing website.
So yeah,
for metadata.
I had read that what it appeared from the file signatures was that someone had inserted a Linux boot USB, which basically allows you to bypass. If you do that, maybe I shouldn't say that here, but it basically allows you to bypass. Like if you have a Windows login, it basically allows you to bypass that and just have direct access onto the, if you boot from a Linux either DVD or whatever, or a USB stick, that it allows you to have access to the hard drive. So
Yes.
they did that, brought it off onto this USB drive via Linux, and so Linux stamped it across the way, and that's how they knew that that's what had happened, which is
Right.
totally different than what we're being told and what CrowdStrike supposedly had analyzed this whole thing. So now we're talking about a broader conspiracy now, where people are actually lying about very simple forensic information that's anybody should know. So like this is going all the way up the chain in terms of people lying about what really happened with these emails.
Right, but these are two different separate emails. One's the DNC emails, the other is the Hillary Clinton's emails.
Okay.
Back to the DNC, like you said, Grizzly Step. The interesting thing about Grizzly Step is that it's Ukrainian malware. It's not it's not Russian malware. It's not GRU malware.
Okay.
So it's Ukrainian malware. It was found to be Ukrainian public malware. It's important that that's known because it's public malware. It's not privately coded.
So anybody could have had it.
Right.
It's out
Exactly.
there. It's out there. Any hacker could have had access to it. It's no proof whatsoever that that it was Russian.
Indeed.
Okay, that's important. That's very important. So if this is your source telling you anything about who the individuals are and what the motivations would be for removing this data and then trying to set it up as Guccifer 2.0? Like, what is the implications of what the motivation for doing that is?
As my source said, and as I detailed in the article, he believes that. I just whoops.
They.
Well, I screwed that one up. Yeah, well, I screwed that one up. Anyway. All right. Well, what they said basically was that Ukraine interfered in the election more than Russia did.
Well, see, we covered this. We covered this on the show when we were looking, because we were accused of being the whole fake news thing and the Proper Not site.
I was too, and I got attacked directly by Proper Not.
So Proper Not, we traced it back on this show. People can go back and check it out at the time. It was a complete Ukrainian fabrication. Like it was, even the links went straight back to Ukrainian political parties and operatives. Yeah. So like that, we know about that. So let's talk a little bit more about that. So we've got Ukrainians, but why? Are we talking about Ukrainian agents having physical access to DNC servers or DNC laptops? I mean, is that what we're talking about here?
That's what my source was kind of worried about, was that if CrowdStrike is doing, not only is it a conflict of interest for CrowdStrike to investigate the DNC because it has ties to Clinton through the Clinton Foundation through donations, but if CrowdStrike is working for the Ukrainian government and working for the DNC, then we got a serious problem.
Oh, CrowdStrike is being contracted by the Ukrainian government?
We don't know.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
Here's the thing. CrowdStrike has ties to a billionaire in Ukraine.
Okay. Yeah, this starts to get very, very tricky at this point. So look, here's what we know. Tell me if I have this right.
Yeah.
Hillary Clinton's emails are out there. Now, have they been? This is the Hillary Clinton emails. Is the FBI, to your knowledge and to your source's knowledge, is the FBI in possession of these emails?
To my source's knowledge, yes.
Okay.
And as the source detailed in the article, through giving me a link, that they do indeed have them, according to the Intel and Senate committee.
Okay. So the Intel committee has these emails. We're not being told about these emails. What about the situation with, and this has come out in a few other places, that the investigation is being reopened, and that they've even gone so far as to. Now, I don't understand the terminology of a plea deal, because I would think that doesn't happen until you're indicted, and I don't think Hillary Clinton's been indicted.
I don't know. I just reported that as I saw it. I don't know if that's true.
Okay.
I do know Ed Klein is very connected to the Trump administration.
Okay.
And I do know Ed Klein has reported a lot of big Clinton stories.
Okay.
So I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt with that story.
But supposedly the FBI has it. The investigation, according to your source, has been reopened against Hillary Clinton.
Well, it was reopened in January.
Okay. But yet we're not being told about this in the mainstream media.
It's a complete media blackout.
So okay.
Everybody, here's the thing. Everybody wants to say that, oh, if you're going after Clinton, then you're for Trump. But personally, for me, I'm just about getting the truth out there. And I personally think Hillary Clinton's one of the most corrupt politicians in the world.
No doubt.
And I think that this needs to come out. So that's why I did it.
Okay. So we've got Clinton emails are out there. FBI reopening the case. Now we've got, let's do DNC emails. Let's do the breakdown on these. DNC emails, not remotely hacked, removed by somebody with physical contact to the DNC, leaked by a personality calling themselves Guccifer 2.0. Guccifer 1.0 says Guccifer 2.0 is a government agent.
Well, wait. Okay, because
go ahead.
There's a lot of speculation that the emails that were leaked to WikiLeaks and the emails that were leaked by Guccifer 2.0, or I'm not even the emails that were leaked by Guccifer 2.0, the documents that were leaked by Guccifer 2.0, as compared to the emails that were leaked by WikiLeaks. There's a lot of speculation that there are two different leaks. And I think that I highly believe that.
Now, what about, are they both genuine documents?
I don't know that. I do know that the John Podesta emails are validated through DKIM.
Mm-hmm. Now, those were the WikiLeaks emails.
Those were the other WikiLeaks emails. Okay. Yes.
So, but we don't know that Guccifer 2.0, I mean, like, it could be a limited hangout or something like that. Like, it could, it could be a distraction. It certainly was used as the background for saying that the Russians hacked.
Yeah, right. Now, I've been on the fence with this for, like, the past couple months, because I actually talked to Guccifer 2.0.
Okay. Tell us about that.
I talked to Guccifer 2.0. I made a comment when Seth Rich was killed.
Yes.
I made a comment to Guccifer 2.0 that, I hope that wasn't you.
Got it.
And the way that he responded, it kind of made me think that he knew Seth Rich.
I see.
So I was in contact with Guccifer 2.0. He gave me some documents. And to go through and look through. He gave a lot of journalist documents.
So does this tie to Seth Rich? Could Seth Rich have been the man with the Linux USB stick? I mean, is that in the realm of possibility, or are we now is he part of some whole other thing?
I think personally, and I don't have proof for this, but I think that Seth Rich was WikiLeaks' source.
Okay. And Assange's statements have seemed to indicate that as he's sort of...
Not only Assange, but Seymour Hersh comment that my former colleague who I worked with, Cassandra Fairbanks, that she leaked recently. that showed that Seymour Hersh knew about the leaks, and he made a comment that Seth Rich had a Dropbox, and he was trying to sell the emails to WikiLeaks. That's what he said.
Seth Rich was trying to sell the emails to WikiLeaks, or Seymour Hersh was trying to sell the emails to WikiLeaks?
Seth Rich. That's what Seymour Hersh said. That's
okay.
That's what the audio recording says. It's very interesting. It opens a lot of new doors.
Okay. Wow. Well, this is certainly interesting. I know that you're continuing on down the rabbit hole of this one. One thing that I want to mention, because it's something that we've been talking about, I think it's fantastic that you've put this up on Steemit, which basically means it's on the blockchain.
Permanent.
We've got censorship resistance. I know as well that you put up a statement on Steemit on the blockchain that you will not commit suicide. We know how this kind of, I mean, I don't even want it. It's so ghoulish to even be talking about this, but I want people to be aware. I want people to be aware that that is there, and that you did put that up, and that is going to live there, and that cannot be censored, because we need you following.
Permanent.
Yeah, we need you following on this information for sure. Is there anything else that you wanted to add that you feel like people should know? I mean, as I said, the link to your Steemit is there in our in the show notes. But was there anything else that you wanted to mention before we go?
Yeah, there was a article I just put up on Twitter. It's if you go to my Twitter account, you can read about it. It was a South Asian prime minister who accused Clinton of using the IRS to stop an investigation of the Clinton Foundation. This is now being investigated. This was opened in, I believe, June. I think it was June. But there's a lot of information out there. It's documented. There's an investigation going on in the Clinton Foundation. And it's a very, very large investigation from what I've been told. And I want people to know that just because I'm going after Clinton, that doesn't mean that I'm a Trump supporter. I've always maintained that I'm neutral. I don't like playing politics. I don't like the left. I don't like the right. They're both equally as corrupt.
Agreed.
As with, like you were talking earlier, I was listening, you were talking about the left and the right. There's something everybody needs to know, and I mean, it should be obvious by now, but there's elites that fund grassroots organizations in the left and in the right.
That's right. That's right.
They want civil war.
Well, of course, because that's how you divide and conquer, right? Divide and conquer, maintain. So that's why it's very, very important that the scales fall from people's eyes in this case, and they can actually see that what we've got is we've got a kleptocracy, as Corbett said on the show, a kakistocracy. We've got a rule of the absolute worst individuals, and I think that what you're doing is very important. I think a lot of us intuitively feel that this is what's going on with the people at the top, but it's very, very important that the proof and the truth is out there. So, Aaron Kesel, I really want to thank you for being on the show. We're going to have you back on. Anybody who's not following your work, this dude is a monster. He's reporting on an amazing amount of stuff. So I know that there's big things coming, and I'm glad to have you as someone that we can call upon to break down some of this truth for us.
No problem, Vin. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Aaron. Hey, stay safe, buddy. Stay safe. I'll be in contact with you soon. Thank you very much, and we'll talk to you again soon.
All right, man. Bye.
So, Christian, explosive.
Yeah.
Explosive. Oh, wow. Well, look, dude, I feel very validated because we've been covering this.
Right.
Like, all of this, it seemed intuitive that this was what was going on. It seemed very, very intuitive. So it's good to see this picked up. And look, there's the blockchain.
Good
right?
stuff.
Steemit. Someone paid for my book the other day in Steam.
That's cool.
I accept Steam. Somebody paid for it in Steam. So if you haven't checked out Steemit yet, go check it out. If you're somebody who does investigative reporting, you can make your living off Steemit.
Yeah, Steemit's cool.
Very, very cool.
I saw the
location,
thing that you put up the other day too. DTube.
DTube.
Yeah,
DTube. So that's like a decentralized YouTube. People should definitely go. That's been the top story on Steemit for a while. So people should definitely go into. The solutions are coming, man. The solutions are coming. Which brings us to. Why don't you hang up on Aaron? We'll take off. It brings us to our news story number 2, and this is the Google story. So what I want to do with this is, as we were going through to find stories about what's going on, I said last week I had said that this was going to be the hill on which social justice warriorism decides that they're going to die. And it did not take very long for this to shake out. Now, as we went through and we looked for stories that encapsulated what's going on, there's one. It was put up by Business Insider. It actually cites Jordan Peterson and Stefan Molyneux as being far right, and Jordan Peterson actually had a little bit of a fit about that. The news story has it changed, but I believe we have the original story here. I'm going to read this whole story because just pulling apart and finding the key pieces didn't really do it justice. So I want to read this whole story. This is this Biz Insider story, Christian. This is from Business Insider. Silicon Valley's liberal bubble has burst and the culture war has arrived, by Steve Kovac. This is Steve Kovac here. I spent 3 months living in San Francisco in 2014 for a work assignment. As a New Yorker, I had the feeling I was jumping into a living cartoon, a culture more like HBO's Silicon Valley than anything steeped in reality. I was right. My main takeaway after my stint out west, the citizens of Silicon Valley are not like the rest of us. They're totally happy, living in a bubble, believing they're changing the world with their genius while ignoring the realities on the outside. Lately, that theme also applies to politics. The tech industry skews to the left more than any other industry. Even as some members of the tech elite have cozied up to the Trump administration, getting photo ops in Trump Tower and the White House, Silicon Valley as a whole has doubled down on its status as a bastion of liberalism. The industry presents itself as not only making the world a better place through tech products, but also through its stances on social issues. Tech CEOs regularly jump to put out statements responding to the latest things outraging liberal sentiments. They've admonished Trump's policies, like his ban on transgender people serving in the military and his decision to back out of the Paris Climate Accord. Netflix CEO Reed Hastings even blasted fellow Facebook board member Peter Thiel simply for supporting Trump. And the displays of liberalism aren't limited to CEOs by any means. Google employees literally left work in the middle of the day to march against Trump's immigration ban. But that bubble burst this week when Google engineer James Damore's memo on diversity went viral and made him a hero of the far right almost overnight. The multi-layered bait was too sweet for the online MAGA hordes not to bite. Here was a white male claiming disenfranchisement in an organization that he viewed as obsessed with political correctness and liberalism. He'd written a manifesto with claims about the biological inferiority of women for some tech jobs that were sure to hit home with the right. And the title of his essay alone, Google's Ideological Echo Chamber, was sure to stir up passions. The fact that he also had a scientific background that helped lend credibility to his claims was just icing on the cake. People on the right headed online to make their opinions heard. They tweeted Damore's musings with delight and charged that his firing was proof that Google wanted to silence conservative viewpoints. A Reddit user posted an image likening Damore's manifesto to Martin Luther's 95 Theses. YouTube, which is ironically owned by Google and has become a hotspot for right-wing vloggers, was the outlet of choice for Damore himself. His first public interviews were to Stefan Molyneux and Jordan B. Peterson, far-right figures who have built up large followings on the video site. It's worth noting that Damore, who railed against ideological echo chambers in his memo, jumped right into one that matched his own views after he gained notoriety. Damore's memo and subsequent firing was the exploding powder keg that brought Silicon Valley into the culture war the rest of the country has been fighting for years. I have a feeling things are only going to accelerate from here. I've had Googlers this week describe to me a kind of hysteria within the company. There's talk about conservative employees organizing and rebelling by following the practice of malicious compliance, where workers bent on sabotaging their superiors follow the letter of the orders they're given, but not their intent. One employee told me that some of her coworkers who support Damore are outing Googlers who oppose his stance by sharing their internal Google Plus profiles. That's caused some of those who have been outed to fear for their safety. CEO Sundar Pichai canceled a town hall meeting where he was scheduled to take questions about the Damore memo because of just those fears. But the bursting of the bubble is affecting more of Silicon Valley than just Google. Others in the tech industry are using the Damore memo as an excuse to speak out and express similar views, something you probably wouldn't have seen even 6 months ago. Here's what two members of the VC class, Eric Weinstein, a managing director at Theo Capital, and Paul Graham of Y Combinator had to say. So let's go to those. This is the Weinstein memo. Eric Weinstein said, "Dear Google, stop teaching my girl that her path to financial freedom lies not in coding, but in complaining to HR. Thanks in advance, a dad." I actually like this one. And remember, Christian, what I said, not a lot of parents in this, right? So isn't it funny that, and that's a great message. That is the message. Mm-hmm. That an adult is like, yeah, I've been trying to teach my daughter that she can be, if she just works hard and does what she's supposed to do, that she can be who she wants to be, not complaining to HR. Because children complain to HR. So then let's see what Graham said. So this is Paul Graham of Y Combinator. So for those people who don't know what Y Combinator is basically it's an incubator company. It's kind of a venture capital company. It's a very, very cool idea. They allow budding entrepreneurs to basically submit business plans for tech projects that they have, as a lot of young guys. And then what they do is, instead of funding them with these huge amounts, they bring them out to Silicon Valley. They kind of put them up in, relatively modest digs, give them, 20 grand or something like that, I believe it is, and let them start, and they mentor them. And some great projects have actually come out of them, some successful companies, but it's very cool. So this is Paul Graham from there, and he says, Quillette got DDoSed. That's a denial of service attack, distributed denial of service attack, which is basically getting your site taken down. For publishing an article about the Google memo, here's the article they tried to censor. The Google memo, 4 scientists respond on Quillette, basically saying that it was scientifically valid and accurate, the things that he was saying for the most part. So let's go on back to this Biz Insider, and I'll finish reading. But more importantly, Google is drawing fire from the right from outside Silicon Valley. The Google employees who were outed for opposing Damore have seen their names published on fringe right sites. Meanwhile, more mainstream national figures on the right have weighed in. New York Times columnist David Brooks, who seems to have misread and misunderstood the memo, said Pichai should resign as CEO for firing Damore. Former Arkansas governor and conservative Fox News commentator Mike Huckabee called Damore's firing, quote, a PC witch hunt. We haven't seen a culture clash like this in the tech industry since the Gamergate fiasco back in 2014. This is way more than Gamergate. But this time it's bigger. This time we have a very public company that makes things that affect our lives every day in a fight with someone who's the new messiah of the right. This time the Google memo controversy has escaped the confines of the internet and has bled into the real world. It's a perfect cultural moment for 2017. A wave of populist anger is hitting an industry whose influence on our lives is increasing exponentially. We're wrapping up just the first week of what is sure to be a months-long battle with victims, martyrs, morons, and heroes on both sides. The culture war may be familiar to everyone, but now Silicon Valley's bubble has burst, and it's just like the rest of us. Christian, I do think this article, it captures it.
Yeah.
It does. You can tell he skews to the left, but it seems like he's trying to be as authentic and genuine as he can. Cool. And this is going to take everybody down with it. Now, here's what it won't take down. It won't take down the tech side. It won't take down the scientific side, right? But what it's going to do is it's going to take the politics out. And this is the reason why I said this is where the SJWs will go to die, because a lot of their power has come from being able to move the levers on Facebook, Google, Twitter, the mainstream media, all of these companies that rely on technology, because the technology crew lean more to the left. Silicon Valley is the San Francisco Bay Area. Couldn't be more left-leaning. Just living there, even if you go there with no political bias whatsoever, just living in San Francisco, you're going to lean to the left. Everything you see, everything that's presented to you as being positive is left, and everything negative is right. So this is the left are the only political group, even the radical left, who have a foothold in any of these companies, and these companies are going to expel them because they're too hot to handle. You know, they've got a bottom line to deal with. And this is it. So, you know, the Google memo came out and people were like, oh, the Google memo is a problem. Oh, why did he say this? And I was like, no, this is a lot bigger than you know. A lot bigger than you know. And we covered that last week. Let's how I know that it's bigger, you know, something that we talk about a lot on this show because we are artists ourselves, or at least I guess I have an artistic bent. I've got no real artistic, well, I guess I got a talent for designing systems and whatnot, but not like yourself, not the graphic talent and the hands-on sort of talent. But I have a great appreciation for art. And you know that when the artists start embodying an idea, that it's about to come into the culture. And so I wanted to show this amazing street art. We're both street art fans. Why don't you throw the street art up here? Somebody made these and started putting them in the Bay Area.
Sick.
And I think, I mean, talk about memes, right? Like last week we talked about the simple memes.
Yep.
So you've got the Apple Think Different, the original, you know, Jobs Think Different. And then you've got Sundar Pichai there, Google not so much. and it embodies this old Steve Jobs was a iconoclast. He was annoying. Steve Jobs, people forget, used to, I believe was he at Stanford or Berkeley? Stanford, walking around with no shoes on.
Oh shit.
Auditing classes basically as a dropout, you know? This guy got fired by his own company. That's how disagreeable he was.
Yeah.
Then founded another company to compete with them, and then when they fell apart, came back. Steve Jobs was a disagreeable person. He got fired by the company he founded. How disagreeable do you have to be?
Seriously.
Right? Talk about un-PC.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, how un-PC do you have to be to get fired by the company you started? And that's what made Silicon Valley. That's what made it. You know, Hewlett-Packard was started by Hewlett and Packard in their garage. That's what the ethic was. And it was to be outside of politics. Think different. Politics is not thinking different. Politics is just thinking like everybody else fucking thinks. Let's see this next one. There's some good ones, man. There you go, same thing. They put it inside. Those are great. I love it when people do those. There's a master key that opens all of those. So a lot of these guys, these artists, they find these master keys and they open them up and stick it in. Was there one more? This one's great. Think different. Think different. Apple, get hired. Google, get fired.
And this guy's taking a picture back here.
It's great, man. It's absolutely great. And here's the thing. When you have a free market, Christian, thinking different does get you ahead. Now, this is what we talked about last week. If you have a problem, what do? You don't complain, you leave, you do your own thing. If you're truly talented, it's going to be okay. Now, I've been talking about Juan Bennett, IPFS, and Filecoin for months now. I said first, Swarm City and Filecoin are the only projects that truly, truly excite me because they have true implications for the future. Filecoin and IPFS, which are tied to each other. So that people know, IPFS is the Interplanetary File System. It's basically a means of, it's a peer-to-peer mesh network, an aspect of a blockchain, kind of, but it's a peer-to-peer uncensorable mesh network that uses a different way of addressing files. People should go and check it out. Basically, this is going to be the new internet. This is going to be where everything's stored. Forget about peer-to-peer, forget about dark web, all of this. This is uncensorable. You put a piece of content up, it can't be taken down because it gets mirrored all over the world in a mesh network. In the same way that the censorship resistance of Bitcoin, whatnot. The inventor's a guy, Juan Bennett, very young, intelligent. Oh, God. Go and check out his talks on YouTube. Sometimes they're hard to follow. Very intelligent, very articulate guy.
Yeah, I want to check him out.
To figure out how do I get people to share their data storage and their internet connection to create this mesh network. How do I incentivize them? He said, I know, I'll create a new cryptocurrency. And this cryptocurrency will reward you as a miner based on how much storage you put online.
That's cool.
So you can take all your old hard drives, put them all in, you could have racks of hard drives. Turn on the miner, and you can earn file coins, which are just like Bitcoins, which can be spent in just the same way, and you're a miner. So this allows new mining. Now, as that's going on and you're mining, you are the storage space for the new internet. Brilliant.
Yeah. Wow.
So I've been telling people, yeah, Filecoin ICO, I can't wait. He announces he's going to do an ICO, and he says, no, only accredited investors. Kind of smart. Only people who are accredited investors that have, I believe it's can prove that they have $200,000 in capital. It's basically the people who can afford to lose money and who are actually educated investors. He says those are the only people who can invest. They do the crowd sale. Even with that, even not fully open to the public, they do the crowd sale this week. It even gets stopped at a certain point, and then I just picked up yesterday. Here's the Filecoin story. Go ahead and throw this up. This is from Coinivore. Filecoin ICO on pace to become the largest digital asset crowd sale ever. The Filecoin ICO crowd sale launched this week, a cryptocurrency that will eventually power a decentralized storage system that can't be censored and is permanent using blockchain technology. This will enable whistleblowers to leak data through the decentralization. The goal of the coin and the technology it's backed by is to allow people to sell their hard drive storage like Airbnb, rental of space on the disk, which will revolutionize how you save data in the cloud. The cloud will thus become anyone's computer who chooses to participate in Filecoin through IPFS, the Interplanetary File System technology. Filecoin confirmed on Twitter that they raised $186 million in the first hour of the crowd sale.
Holy shit.
That puts Filecoin on the verge of becoming the single biggest ICO to date, and it's not over yet. High volume caused congestion, resulting in CoinList pausing the crowd sale shortly after. The Filecoin crowd sale resumed on Saturday. CoinList currently lists over $197 million in confirmed investments so far. Top digital ICOs to date: Tezos raised $232 million in July, followed by EOS, which raised $185 million, and Bancor with $153. Filecoin is on pace to surpass those totals. If they maintain the average price of $2.65 per Filecoin and sell all 200 million tokens, their final raise could be over $500 million. Wow. Incredible.
Dude.
$187 million in the first hour of a raise.
That's crazy shit.
No corporation. It's not corporate. No centralization. This is where it's at.
Yeah.
And so this is the threat to Google. This is the threat. We're coming for you.
Serious.
And it's not even like we're coming for you because we're against you. It's like,
well,
this is the future, bro.
yeah, and we kind of talked about this in the previous show too. It's like, if you're going to, let's take the discrimination, or
right.
What was it, being racist.
Right.
If you're a business and you're racist, which is kind of what Google's doing by censoring people, then you're gonna lose, because the guy that's not racist, he's gonna win.
I mean, isn't it interesting? Isn't it interesting that here we are, we're currently, right as we speak, being censored by Facebook, right? Google censors all the time. They've been demonetizing people this week. He was, Aaron Kesel was just talking about Luke at We Are Change, Luke Rukowski, who we know. He's had his videos demonetized this week. Other people had their videos demonetized. Google's going through Google censoring. There's a big story on Activist Post about it. Are they not paying attention? A $500 million raise for a startup company, and what is their product? An uncensorable system. A censorship-resistant system. A system that even the inventors of the system can't censor. Money talks and bullshit walks. Like, if you see that the interest of the zeitgeist, that the smart money is betting on no censorship, and you double down on censorship, you're a fucking idiot. That's like you see the smart money is betting on cars, and you double down on your horses.
On your horse.
I'm gonna buy 15. Oh, what they're putting in gas stations and laying down roads. Let me go buy some more horses. That's what they're doing. And the reason, and it actually proves James Damore's point. You know, they're saying, oh, Google's ideological echo chamber. It's an echo chamber. That was the whole point of that article. That the reason they can't even see it. Now, what's crazy is Juan Bennett is up in Silicon Valley. Like, this is happening in Silicon Valley. They did a little private raise beforehand, and I think they raised, like, before they did the ICO, and they raised like $50 million for CoinList, which is kind of the backing company that was going to start to do this, that was going to actually like fund the sale. And the main people who invested were the Winklevoss twins. Right. And the Winklevoss twins are the ones who basically started Facebook with Zuckerberg at Harvard. So it's not in Silicon Valley, but the problem is it's not just Silicon Valley, it's gotten even smaller. So it's like it's just Google, just the people at Google fighting inside Google and their own little Google culture and doing this, and it's like, bro, you're done. That's the whole idea of the crypto savage. It's the whole, I write about that whole concept in here, that the only way that a culture can evolve is you have to look outside of your culture and bring in things from outside. It's the reason why the exploratory cultures like Greece, like the Mongolians, right? Like the Japanese to a certain extent until they went like that, but like the Vikings, like the British Empire, like the American Empire. It's the reason why all of these grew and evolved into great cultures was because they would go out and explore and see new things and meet new tribes of people, and they would bring that knowledge back.
Yeah.
And not just out into the present, but also into the past, to go and do archaeological digs and anthropology, and also into the cosmos.
Yep.
If you stay like this, your culture doesn't evolve. And if your culture doesn't evolve, you die. You die because there's cultures around you that are out evolving you.
Out creating.
This is why the understanding is this. The crypto savage is that culture that's inside. It's this thing that's happening. It's Filecoin. It's an energy. It's a pattern. And it's in our intuition. And it is going to affect the overall culture. It has to. This is what's going to save our culture. Because internally, it's the Tower of Babel, and it's crumbling. It's crumbling. And this is going to be the only thing that can come up and to support and to grow something new. That's the idea of the lotus, man.
Yeah.
That's what that is. Every night, the lotus blooms out of the mud. It comes out of the muck, and it blooms white, clean. This is the process of culture. And it's like, which one do you want to be? Do you want to be in the mud, or do you want to be on the flower? Because it's about to bloom. And you got a choice. You could be out in the mud. You could literally be rolling around in the mud with the Nazis and the commies fighting over nothing. Nothing. What do you get? What did anybody come out of that with? Except the leaders of those groups came out with more attention and more power over people who don't know what the fuck they're doing. Or you could just be some random person who shouldn't have even been there in the first place, and you get run over by a car and you're dead. And what was your life worth? What was your life worth? Was it worth it? Was it worth it? Like, what could even have been the possible outcome? What could have been what's the best outcome for either side? There's no good outcome. No, go make something of value. Go fucking learn something.
Mm-hmm.
Go learn about what's happening. Go stand on that petal. Go stand on that flower as it blooms. Get out of the mud. It's one step. It's picking your leg up, saying bye-bye mud, bye-bye muck. You're the decayed, dead flowers from the past. You're the decayed, dead organic matter that this is growing up out of. Why are we sticking around in that muck, in that stink? This is an opportunity.
It's a golden opportunity. Crazy opportunity.
Golden opportunity. It's right here. Mm-hmm. And that's why I'm selling this for only cryptocurrency, dude. Because of all the people who said, oh, I went and bought my first cryptocurrency. I went and this is my first cryptocurrency purchase ever. Yes! Step onto the flower. There's one step out of the muck. Now what's your next purchase?
Mm-hmm. And pretty soon it's going to get to the point where you got that one thing that you can't buy, you know, that's everywhere.
That's it.
There's no other choice.
That's it. And because when enough of us are utilizing this, you know, when you've got a critical mass and there's a restaurant that comes up and says, you know what, fuck it, we'll only take cryptocurrency. Mm-hmm. And everybody goes there. You don't know, like, that's the thing. You don't know because we don't communicate with each other like that. That's another reason why I want to get Peter Kalman back on, because it's important that we're going and we're talking with each other. It's funny story, anecdotal story, and yet another reason why I like selling this book just for cryptocurrency is that what's great is that, you know, there's a section when you order where people are, saying what their personalization message is, but it's long. Yeah. So people are telling their story, and it's great, you know. There was one, this was on Twitter actually, where he was like, yeah, you know, I went to a Bitcoin ATM recently. It was my first time using it. And I actually had to wait in line behind a guy. There was somebody else also using it. And it's like, yeah. If you will start using cryptocurrency to buy things where you can buy using cryptocurrency, and then tell people that you did, tell the people there that you did, start to make these connections, believe me, it makes a difference. Mm-hmm. Businesses are not stupid.
No, they're looking.
They're looking for what markets are. What are their natural markets, and then they're going to play to their natural markets. People are a lot smarter than they're given credit for, and especially if somebody's got a business that's managed to keep its head above water, that person's not a fucking idiot. 90% of businesses never get profitable. That's all it takes. You don't want censorship? Put your shit on IPFS. You don't want censorship? Put it on IPFS. It's that fucking simple. Mm-hmm. It's not about complaining. It's not about yelling. It's not about Google's this and Facebook's this. It's like,
move. Get on the flower.
Nobody's fucking oppressing you. Nobody's oppressing you. You can make the move whenever you want. Mm-hmm. Whenever you want to do it. Yeah. Is it a little... Here's the thing. Is it a little painful at first? Yes.
Yeah.
Is it a little more stressful at first? Yes. But the people who go through that stress first, see, that's a sacrifice. And you're rewarded for sacrifice. You're never going to get paid incredibly well for a job that anybody can do.
Yeah, seriously.
Right? Uh-huh. The people who get paid incredibly well because not everybody can do that job. Mm-hmm. And if you think and you look back at the pain and the discomfort that most of those people have endured, whether it's, you know, professional athletes going through playing sports, getting injured, training, all of this for
losing, failing
20 years before, you know what I mean, they make the big bucks, almost. Whether it's entertainers, you know, you see that rock star on stage, you don't see all the hours that he practiced on that guitar, and still practices every day. Like, you don't see that. You see this author signing books, you don't see all the writing this person's done. Like, you don't see it, but what you have to understand is that's the only way to reap the reward is to go through the little bit of stress.
Yep.
The only way to reap the reward is to sacrifice first. If it's easy, there's no reward. No risk, no reward. And this is this is the opportunity. And it's not about getting involved in Bitcoin because you think it's going to go to 10,000.
Yeah, that's just stupid.
Fuck that. Go buy $40 worth of Bitcoin. Throw it on Amazon. Go buy $20 worth of Bitcoin at a Bitcoin ATM and order a Papa John's pizza tonight by getting a Papa John's gift card at GYFT. And just have that feeling.
Yeah.
Just have the feeling of like, oh shit, I did that with Bitcoin.
Yep, there's a difference. There's actually a magical difference between the knowledge, the gap between the knowledge and the experience, which produces the wisdom.
No, there's a huge gap.
Yeah. But it's what you're talking about. It's the cocoon. It's the magical transformation.
Yeah, because you have to have both, right?
Yeah.
Wisdom is embodied knowledge.
Yeah.
Wisdom is knowledge that you know to be true because you have experienced the truth of it in the past. It's not book knowledge, it's street smarts.
Yeah.
You got to get out and embody it. You want to be a crypto savage? You want to wear that title? Okay, just do it. And you know what? If you go and you make a cryptocurrency purchase right now, you have actually just separated yourself from 99.9% of the people on this planet. You have actually, we talk about the elites, you can turn yourself into an elite because this is going to be the future of money. If we say that the elites now are the people who invented and utilized the earliest money system, or the earliest version of our current money system, which is the Rothschilds, you want to be an elite? Go buy something with Bitcoin.
Better yet, go create something.
Dude, now you're on Rothschild level.
Yeah.
And you still have some time. We're ahead of the curve. You don't have a lot of time, but you got some time. So, I mean, I don't know what else you and I can do except keep spreading the message. Keep giving you the things to buy. Vodka's coming soon. Shirts are coming
T-shirts,
soon.
Yeah.
That's the best we can do. Lead by example. That's the best we can do.
Live it.
Live it. It's not a problem. It's just the muck. It's just the muck.
You know what's crazy too? We were talking about being present and stuff like that. And if you completely be present and understand what's going on with this right now and remove yourself from the problem, you're going to see incredible opportunity.
Oh, like there's never been. Not in my lifetime. I mean, I was a part of the tech boom, and like it was still very much a level removed. Now it's like, oh, dude, it's like right fucking here. It's like anybody can grab it. Anybody can reach out and grab it. And not only can anybody reach out and grab it, but there's a community of people who want to help you do it. That's the crazy part about it.
They just came into a fuckload of money.
I mean, there's just, you know, it's amazing. We'll get into all of these things. We'll talk about these more. One thing, community of people, and god damn it, I keep forgetting to do this, but I'll do something this week. I have to. I'm going to be speaking at Free Coast Festival in September, the weekend of September 8th.
Okay.
And we're already coming up on this. It's in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. It's a 3-day event. It's going to be amazing. That's actually where Matt Carano is of Swarm
Nice.
City. All the Swarm City people will be there. It's a Bitcoin-heavy place. I'm going to be there. There's plenty of Airbnbs. It's absolutely beautiful town. It's like an old seaport town in New Hampshire. It's going to be beautiful there in September. And it's the theme of the Free Coast Festival, which is one of the Free State Project. It's one of their events, one of their conferences. It's Living a Voluntary Life Today. I'm really looking. There's going to be a cruise around the harbor.
Oh, that's cool.
It's going to be fantastic.
Yeah.
I'll put up more promo on that, but if people want to go and check it out, you can go to festival.freecoast.org, freecoast.org, FREECOAST. Yeah, besides that, dude, I think, yeah.
Great show.
Great show, man. Thank you very much. Let me say goodbye to the
Thank
people.
you.
Well, I really want to thank our guest today, Aaron Kesel. Aaron, stay safe out there. Keep doing what you're doing. Please go check him out. The link to his Steam It, which has the current article that he was talking about, is available on the description of this on YouTube. I will also tweet it out on my Twitter for those people watching on Twitter. And for those people who want to check us out in the archives, you can do that at youtube.com/VinArmani, at least until such time as they decide that they're going to censor us as well. And you can do that on podcast on iTunes and Stitcher. So until the next time, which will be next week, 10 a.m. on Monday, stay free.